good afternoon, good evening if you're across the pond, if you're not in the US, Pacific, Eastern time zones. Welcome to the show. I'm Max, host of the RHMax show about crypto and more specifically Richard Heart products. Mostly, we talk about a few other things as well, business, philosophy, finance, and all that stuff too. Definitely going to talk about some luxury goods, fashion stuff, a lot of stuff that our guest Crypto Stylist is into and can give us some great cross collaboration with the other industries with. Excited to get into that. And of course, we're going to do a rundown too of HEX, what's going on with PulseChain, maybe talk a little bit about that. And just what's going on in the ecosystem. So appreciate if you share the link, like, subscribe if you're not already. It's going to be a good show. I'm excited to get into it. Welcome everyone, and without further ado, let's bring in Crypto Stylist. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello. Hi. It's nice to see you.
Yes. Glad you could make it. I know you're in a completely different time zone. You're over in the UK.
I'm in the UK, so GMT +1. That's me.
I've had a couple scheduling things where I go blank on GMT +1 and +2. Is there two time zones in the UK, or is there one, or how's that work?
In the UK, I believe there's just one, but Europe, most of Europe is on GMT +2 because they're an hour ahead of me.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Hi, Bobby Hetzelrod.
Yeah,
Nice to see you.
He's a regular here as well. Glad that he's a fan of yours too. Yeah, this is good. Let's we talked a little bit before the show on your background a tiny bit, but can you just give us an introduction? I know a lot of people know you. Of course, they're going to show up for the show today if they watch your content before. I know you probably told it 100 times, but can you just give us like a rundown of like how you got into crypto, how you found Richard Heart, how what kind of business and industry you're in before, and what you're doing now?
Okay, yeah, of course. So I got into crypto in July of last year for the PulseChain sacrifice. So that was my first crypto investment. So that was a good one. So I feel really fortunate that I, got in on such a great project. And then through a recommendation of a friend of mine, I wasn't into crypto at all. I didn't know how to set up a wallet. Like, it was super nerve-wracking. And then I started to research about what I had invested my money into after I invested it. Which isn't really the proper way to do it, but I did it that way. And then I stumbled on HEX, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos and started to really think, what is this? Like, it's a CD that's with crypto, and that like trustless yield, and like I watched actually quite a bit before I decided to invest in it. So I invested in it, and then I reached out to Wales only. And I asked him just a lot of questions, and then he convinced me that I should stake. So then I staked, and then I've just been in ever since. And it's the only crypto that I'm really into, is anything in the RH ecosystem. So I feel really fortunate. This is what I've, come into, and that really learning the values that are preached, that are really kind of the tenets of the HEX community, which is not to trade. A lot of people advise to dollar cost average, to really look at dips as an opportunity. These are all things that, had I not really learned and had that instilled with me, no admin keys, then I wouldn't have known. So it's really good that we kind of all have these really strong values that we kind of preach and we all live by, and that we can teach new people when they come in, how important these kind of like basic fundamentals of crypto are, because it can really prevent you from getting wrecked, which is really easy, to happen.
Yes, that's one of the best things about this community is there's a lot of people who are practicing these ideas. Richard's popularized a lot of them and taking them into, hey, you don't need to be a trader, you don't need to sit there and watch charts and take the other person's money, all that stuff. You can just stake, you can just wait, we can monetize time, we can do stuff like that, and you can go live your life and be healthy, wealthy, wise, and not have to worry about it. That's one of the fundamental principles around here, and I don't know if the community would be so solidified. So I think in this bear market in particular, without those principles, we may be like every other community and just be like, no, everything is horrible, bears everywhere. There's still, a little bit, there's still obviously some folks who are not quite comfortable as maybe their first bear market. They haven't quite internalized a lot of these things yet. but I think it's a lot less in other communities. I suspect.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Hi, David James is in the chat. Hi, David. I just met
Yeah.
David in DC. I was there last week.
Oh,
I was there
nice.
last week. So I got to meet him in person. He's so nice. It was cool.
Yeah. I had David on the show about a month ago, and that
Mhm.
was a great stream too. Yeah, very, very interesting guy. Very, definitely promoting some healthy stuff in the community as well. I know a lot of folks have benefited from hearing and talking with him and working with him too. So we always appreciate David coming on. That's something I want to get into too. Is you mentioned this is sort of your first. You've been in crypto a year or so. This is your your foray into the HEX and all these things. Luckily, you found this one as your first one and not some other stuff. How does your background in the I guess fashion industry and you can elaborate that as you like to, business and things like that. How is there? How do you onboard people like that? How do you what kind of cross collaboration opportunities are there between these two sectors?
Well, I mean, onboarding people into crypto in general, just individuals, and just really trying to get people to look at it and to consider it as part of their portfolio is something that I do. It's a very case by case thing where, first of all, you've got to be speaking with someone who's open to it. So if you bring up crypto and people, you can tell if they're just going to shut you out, then it's really not worth the energy and it's just going to strain the relationship. But there are people who are like, no, I really have been thinking about it and I've been looking into it, and like, what's your take on it and what do you think and why? And so I usually start more macro. So I just talk about what's happening with inflation, and I talk about what's happening with, the fiat currency, and what's happening, in basically how what I say is that the money that we're making now and the money that you're putting away for your retirement, by the time you retire, is not really going to be worth a lot. So you've really got to kind of invest in something and look into assets that are going to outpace the rate of inflation. And there's not that much to really look at, So cryptocurrency is the best. And then within cryptocurrency, obviously HEX is the best. But I try to it's all on a gradient. So there's that side. And then there's a lot of people who are looking to use the blockchain for a lot of, in fashion, there's a lot of NFTs. There's people who accept crypto. There's also a lot of applications on the blockchain that you can do for that can be used for authenticity. It can be used for visibility into supply chain. There's a lot of to look at the chain of ownership, for used goods. So there's a lot of applications that are really going to be groundbreaking when they are going to be applied to the blockchain. So talking to people about that, most people don't even understand this space or even NFTs. So that's kind of the twofold.
Yeah, and that's so when you are onboarding people, are there things that they say that how do they push back? Like when you talk to people, is it literally just lottery ticket, or it's going to go to, you better get out now, or scam, all this stuff? What are your counters to some of the things you hear out there when you're talking to people?
I think the main thing is that people are like, I just don't understand it. I just don't understand how it's a digital, how can that be worth anything? I think that's really one. And then two, I mean, as you can imagine right now, we're in a bear market. So they're just like, well, I'm glad I didn't put my money into that, and look at what's happening, because it's all going to go to zero. And, and so you have to kind of say, well, this is actually the best time to buy. But it just seems so risky because it's so volatile. So you've got to really kind of speak with people, sorry, it's my dog, who understand the principles of, of investing, and who know how to look at markets from a more macro point of view again, and look at the cycles and look at what's happening in the stock market. I just did a stream with John Wick, and he was talking about how during COVID, the stock market crashed, right? And then after that, the people who invested then, how much money those people made. The people who invested when everyone was like, the economy's wrecked and most people didn't want to touch stocks, the people who went in and scooped up the good stocks, a lot of them made millions, from that bear market. So it's the same principle for now. But for someone who doesn't understand crypto, to explain why something is 90% down and why they should buy it, it can be really challenging.
Well, even with stocks, that's a great point too. I mean, I've talked to people recently who they say, oh, it's time. This is time to sell. This is going down. Sell it before it goes down further. And then on the inverse, when we're in a bull market, they're like, oh, it's this is the time to they want to buy it when it goes up really high, but they sit and they wait. Oh, it goes up higher, goes up higher, goes up higher, and then they buy it, and then they expect like success. It's just this super like backwards thinking. I'm not sure how. Is it just like when you're, unless you take like finance classes and you like get some hardcore education in school. I know we don't, at least in America, you don't learn about any of that stuff in high school or otherwise, unless you're taking college classes in parallel and like really got some good teachers. You're not gonna learn any of this finance stuff. You're not know what money means until it's too late. At that point. But you think like that's the, I was talking to someone recently and they said, oh, it's right now. Do you just, it's always I think their ideal of finance is buy low and sell high. And then they miss that tier of, if you would have bought Bitcoin at $10, you would have been the person who sold it at $250 or, $250, or you've been the person who sold it at $50 or $25 and thought you did a really good job. They just can't understand that. No, you just wait. I literally said this to them after I had this conversation. I said, no, I explained how, most people sell it too early. You just wait, and they just can't understand waiting. Is it just a short-term mindset, or is it just the lack of financial education? You think like, what is the huge disconnect that's there?
Well, I think just two people's credit who bought at 10 and then it goes up to 250 and they sell at 250. That's a big gain. That's 25.
It's not a bad job.
You know what I mean? That's 25 times your money. Where else in life? I think it's just so hard to believe, and it's so hard to comprehend what kind of gains people are, what kind of gains people are getting from crypto. So for somebody who comes from stock where they think by doubling their money is like winning the lottery, then 25 times they're like, oh, this is as good as it's going to get. They just can't accept that it could go higher, which obviously it did. And they feel like they got out well, and so that I think it's just for people who haven't really studied the market and really understand what can be achieved with crypto if it's the right project and the right time. If you're going to kind of go with what you know from history, and from in history, there's not been anything like crypto. So this is the best performing asset class in the history of mankind, right? And it's just so extreme that people are thinking, oh my God, I doubled my money. I'm going to cash out now. I am good. And they don't realize that long term, like how that can go. They're not looking at the chart the way that we're looking at the chart, because we've been trained to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a formula for the the weak hands too. Is you think so? Even if they believe that it can go higher, they've got their double. They relate this investment to traditional finance, but if they do believe it can go higher, then they treat it as a lottery ticket. So if they buy it high and then it goes down, they're like, "Yep, it was a lottery ticket. I gotta sell it now and get out." So like it's both traps. It's either one, they can't relate it, or they want to relate it to traditional finance so much that they can't understand the gains will go that much higher, as you alluded to. And then the other part is, if they do believe it, they want to sell it. If it ever goes down, they want to sell it because they were thinking it's a lottery ticket the entire time. So that's the two things I can see that for the human psychology part.
Yeah, I think also that people who sell when crypto is on its way down, it's because they're not used to the extreme volatility of crypto. I mean, it's violent. It really is. I mean, 85% down, 90% down, and that's normal. That to, somebody who's new to crypto and who doesn't really understand it and hasn't really studied it and looked at other charts, and that's what charts for successful projects have done, are going to freak out and they're going to want to get the F out, So I think that's really what you see is that reaction, because it's we're programmed to think that way.
Yeah, exactly. Funny segue too. You reminded me of Westworld when the phrase "these violet delights have violent endings." I think that's the phrase.
Yeah.
And then you said, that's Westworld season 4 coming out sometime, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so. I think season 3 came out late last year, I believe so. Yeah, it's usually 18 months or so for it. But I want to ask you about the Wall Street Journal article too. That was something that I think everyone was like, "Whoa, we had HEX on a newspaper. That's cool." Whether it relates to HEX or not,
it was a fashion thing. It was just my picture as the reference for the brand. So it's not my brand, and the story wasn't about me. It was just I was on the cover because I represented that style. And the thing is that when you are in fashion, and you go to runway shows, you become, the press knows you, they know who you are, and they photograph you, and they oftentimes will use your photo. Like, I've been on the cover of New York Times style section, I can't tell you how many times. And it's not about me per se. It's not an article about me, but they're like, okay, the pink is the color of the season. And then there'll be a picture of me. So that's kind of how it went. But they know me, and the Wall Street Journal, they know me, those photographers, especially the fashion ones. But it's in the context of that she represents exactly what we're talking about. So that's really kind of what it was. It wasn't an article about me. It was an article about a brand called Issey Miyake. And Issey Miyake is a brand that got really big, and it launched in the 80s, I think. And it's really known for this kind of pleated fabric, this fabric that's like indestructible. You can you can put it in the washer. You can just let it air dry. Like, it never wrinkles. It lasts forever, and it never changes. It doesn't pill. It doesn't fade. Any of that. It's like super high tech fabric, and it's kind of very architectural, kind of reminds me of origami, and it's got like a cult following, this brand. But it was a brand that's known to be for kind of a little bit of an older generation, like Gen X, and then like boomers wear it. But the whole point of the article is that now Gen Z has discovered Issey Miyake, and they love it. And they're like, see, this girl, she's at the show and she's wearing it, and then whatever. So it was me on the cover. So yeah, I can't tell you how many people from like high school reached out. Like, oh my God,
great.
And I don't like the pictures, so I'm just like, oh.
Well, I mean, that's just something to. I mean, the reason I even brought it up was it's nice to see, you know, people in the community, you know, regardless of what your actual business is. It's nice to see them represented and like out there, and you know, maybe that'll lead to other conversations. Maybe that'll be a great onboarding conversation. Hey, you know, hang out with some people who saw you there, or otherwise. And if nothing else, it's nice individually. So yeah, congrats.
Yeah, no, it's really good press. It's really good recognition. It's really good, all of that. I mean, I'm thrilled, you know, but it certainly was, I was not expecting it. It came out of nowhere, because it's kind of actually like the picture is like a year and a half old. So it's not even like a recent picture. I was like, wow. I was like, I really did not like my hair in that phase of life, but there's something I could do about it.
Yes, Wall Street Journal should have posted it, you know, 2 weeks after she took the photo, where you know, she was still in a good mood for that style. Yeah, that's awesome though.
Thank you.
Speaking of, yeah, I mean, I want to continue on onboarding a little bit. What can you think of? You know, you've seen a lot in the community, people doing direct mail. I think that's awesome. I'm so happy that I hope a lot of people donate to the addresses that you see floating around that are for people doing direct mail, because wow, they're even quoting the prices. What is it, like 50 cents and to each, you know, each address and all this stuff. Ads. I mean, when are we getting Richard's face on a billboard? Would that even be effective? Like, in your mind, like for marketing in general, like what is the best ways to promote HEX, PulseChain, you know, Richard's products? And like, is there something we're not doing yet that a possibility that people can come up with?
I mean, I know everybody says this, but I really feel like if Richard were to go on Joe Rogan, I think that would be a game changer in terms of visibility and visibility to the right people that would respond to him. A billboard would get a lot of attention, I think. And I think that, you know, and that's always a positive thing. I mean, to get eyeballs onto HEX and to get them to look at us, which is why Richard's been doing what he's been doing recently, right? But, you know, I think that in terms of, it's really when, and I saw this this interview that Coffee just did with a guy who's from Google. I'm blanking on his name. It's literally just a few days ago.
Yeah, I remember that one though.
And the guy said, he's like, what do you think of Richard? And he's like, listen, if I was watching him on TV and the volume was off, I would think scammer, for sure. Scammer. I wouldn't even think about, you know what I mean? I wouldn't care what he was shilling. There was no way I would buy it. But then when you turn the volume on and you listen to him, he's like, probably the most intelligent conversations I've ever heard about crypto have been from Richard. So he's like, you know, so I think talk shows are better because he can speak. You know, you can get 360, the whole picture. It's not just about what he looks like and what he's wearing, which is interesting, right? But it's not you won't know how intelligent he is and what he stands for unless he speaks. So I think Richard does really well in interviews. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, is there so we do direct mail, you know, we've seen some ads, you know, I think there was one in The Economist magazine maybe a year or so ago. I'm just thinking too, like what other ways can we just get the message out there other than, just cross collaboration communities, podcasts, like you mentioned? Are there, like, say there's some Hexagon that has a few $1 million that, they've already cashed out, blah, 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 and they just want to continue to pump these bags. Like, is there something we're missing? Is there something that people haven't done yet?
I don't think that we've gotten any really big celebrity to, and I'm not saying someone should spend money to do this, but onboarded someone really big, like a Johnny Depp, or like somebody like, I know he's like,
Amber Heard.
Yeah, exactly, Amber Heard. Somebody, okay, not her, but somebody on that level of visibility who would talk about HEX, because, or like an Elon Musk, or because that's like an instant pump, because so many people see it, and because HEX is small, the community is small, and most people don't know about it, even people within crypto. Because I have a lot of friends who are like in Web3 and they're in NFTs and they're super into crypto, and a lot of them don't know about HEX or PulseChain or PulseX. They don't know about Richard Heart. So it's just a matter of really getting it out there and, in front of the right people. But I think that, having a celebrity or somebody really well known, I think a thought leader more than just like a movie star, a thought leader, like an Elon Musk. I mean, not necessarily him, could be him, but somebody like him that represents that, who's known for his intelligence, who's known for people who trust and they would follow if he said, this is really good.
Okay, so maybe celebrity endorsement. I've talked about before where with PulseChain, I'm excited to see some of the big influencers, 100, 200K, 300K, 500K, who have bags, who sacked for PulseX. And right before launch, right at launch, right afterwards, I'm excited to see those tweets. I want to see those retweets of, blah, 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 it's promoting Pulse and PulseChain and all this stuff now. Who are there influencers that you could see that would benefit the community the most coming out? I know people have said BitBoy, like him or hate him.
It's the big crypto influencers, because their crowd is into crypto. So if they talk about it, first I'll get in front of people who actually already have MetaMask wallets who can buy. You don't have to say, okay, here's how you do it. Here's a MetaMask wallet. Don't give up your seed for it. It's people who are already in it and just turning them onto it. That's going to be the fastest conversion. But or Logan.
Well, that's why,
Logan brothers, didn't Motley? Yeah, he's raising money about, Jake Paul. Yeah, he's going after that. Jake Paul would be really good. Yeah, really, really good.
Well, you hit on another piece too, which was the lack of fiat on-ramp. I've said this before as well. It's like, instead of having to go to Coinbase or blah, 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 get ETH, get USDC, go to Uniswap or Matcha or wherever, use MetaMask, convert it to HEX, go to hex.com, stake it, all this stuff. What if it was just a way to get direct? What if on go.hex.com there's a new tab, and it just says buy, and then on that section it's got like we've already got some Hexagon with a bank or Richard or whoever, and then you can just buy it directly. You sign up, do whatever, and then there's an auto staking feature. I'm just like thinking of these ideas I've had before, where you can, maybe by default, it says automatically stake for, however many, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years or something. And then you gotta, if you don't want to do that, you gotta select off of it. But anyways, like, it's incentivizing people to stake, be a long-term holder, things like that. And we're getting them away from this whole like transfer back and forth. Make sure you got the right address, all this stuff that's super easy to mess up, especially for people who, well-versed in technology. Do you think that's possible one day? We'll have something like that that's this mega on-ramp for your new users?
I hope so. I really hope so, because I agree with you. I think that's really important.
Yes, I hope. I know the devs are busy on PulseChain right now. I don't want to delay them any further, but man, if we could get a buy button on hex.com and that infrastructure and that business relationship, or somebody buy the bank, like I was with Ben Affleck on Batman. He's like, how'd you get him to give the house back? He's like, oh, I bought the bank. Yes, please, some Hex can buy the bank. So, very excited about that. That's gonna blow my mind. I'm excited this whole entire summer, this entire year. I mean, I guess up until this year, it's been kind of rough so far. But launching in a bear market, all the wallet that Richard's been talking about, I think it's nothing but good news. I can't help but stay positive. Of course, I'm not over leveraged. I think a lot of people are negative because they put money in that they would like to have back, or they would like to get the returns on. They felt it was happening faster. But I fortunately, I'm knock on wood, everything's fine financially for me. I'm not over leveraged. I, didn't put anything I couldn't afford in, and I'm just excited for the rest of the year. I kind of want to fast forward a little bit and get to the good parts.
I know. I want to get to the good part, but you just have to believe that, that it's going to happen. And then if you really feel paranoid, then look at history. History will. What happened, for the previous bear markets and how we came out of that and we survived. And there's so much more now for, if you look at 2018 versus 2022, that bear market versus the one that we're currently in, how much more there's invested in the whole crypto and the Web3 ecosystem. There's so much money involved in it that it's too big for it to just go away. The fact that the government wants to regulate crypto, as opposed to in 2018, they wanted to ban crypto. They want to regulate it because they know it's not going to go away. And they also know that it's going to actually have a positive effect on the American economy. 50% of crypto holders are in the United States. What are you going to do? Take that away, make it illegal? That's going to take away so much economic energy that we need, that this country, and that no politician is going to do that. So, it's not no politician, but any politician, most politicians will think, okay, I don't want to really kind of destroy that kind of opportunity.
We got some interesting politicians.
Yeah, I know. So I retract that statement. There are politicians who would do that, but I think for the most part, people will think, okay, well, great. This represents a large part of the economy now, and in future economy, what that can bring. So how can we work together with them and regulate it? Which is how I feel that the government is thinking right now.
They definitely seem to recognize now that, like as you mentioned, not going away, that it's beneficial for America to be strong first. I think they're going to come down on stable coins a bit, which I don't know. I'm libertarian, so it's hard for me to say that you should create more laws to restrict these things and protect consumers. But hey, do you know what's best? Do you not know what's best? All this stuff, but I think that's coming out. Hopefully, it won't affect. I actually saw a tweet. I was thinking about liquid loans when I saw that come out too, and I saw Jesse from Liquid Loans had tweeted that appears to be they're cracking down on some of the algorithmic stable coins and that side, and less on the good ones that we have with Liquid Loans, for example, and Liquidity, that project. So that's good news because that. I mean, I think Liquid Loans and giving you a way. I'm going to have a tax professional on here in a couple weeks too. I finally found one from the UK, so not the US perspective, but can give us a UK perspective. Which plenty of UK HEXs, I think they'll benefit. But if everything checks out the way it sounds like it's going to be, getting crypto loans, that could save you a lot of tax money. Not tax advice, not financial advice, and we're still working on the details. But it seems like one, good for the individual. Two, good for the project because that's relieving a lot of sell pressure.
My dog, I have a neighbor who has another dog, and so when they come home, my dog wants to say hi. So she barks. Sorry about that. But yes, I agree with you. If it, that does, Liquid Loans is a game changer in that, to be able to, the tax implication, again, it's not tax advice, but the tax implication is, it's positive for crypto. It's positive for Pulse. So
huge. I mean, that's what rich people do. They don't sell. They acquire assets that appreciate over a long period of time, and they figure out a way to hang on forever. And they take out debt against them and do all these things. So we should learn. If you want to be rich, you should learn from rich people, and that seems to be a winning strategy. And they don't pay a lot of tax for a reason. Everyone hates rich people, they don't pay tax. Yeah, you don't have to pay tax either if you use the same strategies. Of course, you need you got to make the money, you got to have the capital and be closer to that level to take advantage of all the things. But still, it's not like Of course, there's some things where it looks like they're cheating the system, and there's some things that are not quite ethical and all that. But I'm talking about, hey, when you get rich, if you got a plan, and when you're rich or you're wealthy and you got everything under control, you may find yourself using some of these strategies that the rich people are doing for good reason.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just smart and they're strategic. They want to hang on to their money, so can't fault them for that.
Exactly.
Hi, Sandy Beach.
Yeah, hey Sandy. Yeah, I've seen her on a few streams as well. Appreciate your support.
She's great. She comes to a lot of my streams. She's awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, what do you think is missing from I guess our our search or our marketing and to help fast track adoption.
I'm still not sure why we can't get Richard's face on a billboard somewhere. And I'm not saying that as like telling someone else to do it, but like, I should do it, right? You do the work. But I'm just saying in general, it's like, I'm surprised I haven't seen tweets of either, some stadium, some concert, and there's like this huge ad of Richard on it, talking about HEX or talking about, the documentary or whatever. Surprised we haven't seen more of that. Maybe there's some constraints around, you can't, promote a person. I don't know. It seems like that would change based on the jurisdiction. It seems like you could do it in some states versus in others, or internationally. I just think more banners. I don't think I've seen enough like promotion at festivals, events, concerts, TV ads. I mean, I think Crypto Heartbeat was actually onboarded. The story for him was he was onboarded late at night by an ad, HEX ad. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have cable TV, but I would imagine we should be seeing more videos of these ads that are playing for millions of viewers and things like that. And I'm not saying we should go, have a crypto.com arena somewhere by the Staples Center. I don't think we can do that quite yet, but it just seems like there's still some low hanging fruit as far as, putting people a lot of the whales and HEX, especially the ones that can't afford to do some of these things. I'm surprised that we haven't seen a lot of that. Again, not telling anyone what to do with their money. You're rich, you deserve it. That's cool. That's something I could just see that this kind of people could do. Maybe pull it, get a fund together, make it a regular thing. I think the direct mail is an excellent idea. I think that's a game changer. Like people get this in the mail. We even see some of the haters. I've seen so many retweets of people getting it like, oh, look at this scam HEX I got in the mail. I can't believe they're allowed to do this. And that's when it's reaching people. When it's reaching people.
When people are talking about it.
Exactly. they're outraged by getting spam, like that. So
I think that the documentary is going to be really huge in terms of, visibility about HEX and RH and the ecosystem. I mean, because I met with some of the higher officials within F1, and they were telling me that the Netflix series for them and what that's done for their brand is like exponential, like the growth that they've had and the visibility they had. And that's F1, which you would think everyone would know, but it's afforded really huge opportunity for F1 as a brand. So I'm hoping that the same thing will happen for us when the documentary is released.
That's something I'm more bullish on than anything else this year. I'm almost, I don't know, it's kind of like tied for first place, PulseChain launch and documentary launch. I think after the documentary launches, Air Community, I would say within 6 months or so, it may double. It could double. And just the number of holders, the number of influencers, the number of just people who see it and start believing that it's a real thing, that it's not this, it's not this like bad deal. OA holds all the coins, going to dump on you one day. No, it is indeed a magic carpet ride. And it's a long-term magic carpet ride, so it's hard to prove a negative. It's hard to prove, these things up front. But hey, we've been in this 2 years now, and a lot of people seem to be doing pretty well. And I haven't seen a lot of people leave the community either, probably for a good reason, huh?
Yeah. Danlo, that's a really good question. When do you think the tokenization of assets like real estate, businesses, etc., will get mass adoption? Wouldn't that be crypto backed by other assets? I know that there's a lot of projects like this that are in place now, and it's actually happening. But how soon it'll happen and happen on a mass level, I think we're still maybe a couple of years away. But I think that things are in process. It'll probably start on my prediction is that it'll start on a couple of projects, and there'll be a lot of snagging issues and a lot of things that go wrong. And then from that, the 2.0 or the next generation of it will come out and it'll be better. Just like look at NFTs. NFTs came out and it went nuts, right? And it was so bullish. And then now it's correcting. And I think something about, not that I think that this is different because it's backed by actual assets, but I think the actual tokenization of it might take a little bit of time for it to happen on a mass level. But I do think that it is happening. I just think that just having gone through with establishments and working with, more traditional establishments and in crypto and NFT Web3 projects, and just seeing how difficult it is to integrate the 2.0 with the 3.0. It takes time, and there's so much learning, and there's so much that's gray, just like in terms of tax laws, in terms of laws in general, and just also educating people who only know the 2.0 side to like kind of get over to the 3.0 side. There's not enough people who understand Web 3.0 in order to be able to execute, I think, on a mass level yet. But I do think it's happening.
Something I want to ask about too is I saw you had some content on sort of the Web3, the luxury goods type projects that are going on. Can you talk a little bit about that and like how, is there this connection between the fashion industry and crypto, the luxury goods industry? All these other things are kind of getting the pieces put together, and will we see like Louis Vuitton NFT, stuff like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely going to happen. I think that what's happening now is that, first of all, fashion is starting to understand that, especially luxury, that crypto is the new, what was like all the tech billionaires from Silicon Valley. Now it's all about the crypto billionaires, right? I mean, we're in a bear market now, but still. And so they're going after that money. How do you go after that money? You've got to accept crypto. So now you see it's Gucci, Off-White, Balenciaga, Philip Plein, and then one other person accepts crypto right now. They accept crypto. Not that many though. Like the Chanel's and Louis Vuittons, they still don't accept crypto, but it's starting to happen. Then the other side of it is that fashion is going to have to move. A lot of it's going to have to will move onto the blockchain with regard to authenticity. And people who are outside of fashion maybe don't know, but like, for example, I have this bag. This is a Comme des Garçons bag, right? How do I know it's real? I can look, and there are certain indicators, but I bought it from a store. If I were to be able to run my phone over it, and then it would just kind of, all the credentials of it would pop up. That's all tied to the blockchain and talks about the materials used and where it was made, and this is the serial number, so that you actually know that it is authentic. Then I really will know that this is authentic. I kind of don't really know. I mean, unless you buy it from the store, and even from the store, something could be fake. Someone could put fake items on a truck. And then, so that's a really big thing. So Louis Vuitton right now, I know, is, for example, when they sell a bag, you're going to get an NFT with that bag. And the NFT is just to show the authenticity, but it'll make that bag a lot more valuable, especially when you resell it. Because the resale market is a humongous business in fashion right now. So you buy something, you buy your Chanel bag and you get tired of it, and after a year you want to resell it, you can resell it and make almost all your money back. So that's why a lot of girls are buying Chanel bags, because they know they can make most of their money back. You're going to make even more money if you can show that it's authentic, and if it's authenticated on the blockchain, because it's pretty foolproof. So that's going to be a big use case, a big utility for NFTs and for blockchain for my industry.
What is that? Is there? I think pretty sure there's a fashion, like a luxury store online deal where you can trade in your. You reached out to me for a job one time, I think, on the tech side. But they had some physical stores too. I think during the pandemic.
The Real? Was it the Real?
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Huge. It's a huge business. Like, it's not even funny. Somebody just asked about something. Didn't Walmart build a blockchain like that with KPMG? Yes, they did. Walmart is really into, like, they're investing in blockchain for sure, and they're really going for that. So that's true, Holly.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of businesses that are trying to, and probably the last couple of years, have been trying to figure it out and see what benefits they can get from doing it. I wonder if in the future for luxury things, instead of getting a paper certificate, maybe you get, the NFT proving authenticity, or I don't know. There's some physical attributes that are. I'm interested to see that. I have a security background, and I'm not a physical security expert as far as like open resistant tape and all that stuff. But I wonder, what actually makes sense as far as authenticating things on the blockchain. Because I know there's been a few, I don't want to say IOTA as the go-to one, because everyone knows there's a lot of controversy about, does that thing even work, and their business plans and stuff like that. But I wonder, has the industry evolved enough, and have there been enough people working on this where they can come up with a solution that makes sense and actually solves a business problem instead of slapping blockchain, on the company name?
Well, if you see companies like Louis Vuitton, they've actually joined forces with competitors like Prada and Cartier. Those are competitors, and they joined forces to create a blockchain called Aura. And they talk about, authenticity and visibility, supply chain, and all that. But I think that, again, it's going to be, they're very, very, very slow they don't even talk about it in the press that much, because I think they know that there's probably going to be a lot of issues in the first generation of it. And so they're just really kind of quiet about it. And there's a lot of testing going on. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be really difficult, and it's going to take time to perfect it. So I think the first generation is going to be, like there's MySpace and now there's TikTok. It's going to be the same thing. The first thing's going to come out. Okay, that's good. And that's a game changer. And now we're starting this journey with fashion and blockchain, but it's got to perfect. You've got to understand from all the problems that come up and then coming up with the solutions. That's how you improve the technology. That will happen.
Sure. When you can buy NFTs on Amazon, we may have been taken over at that point. Or that means we're at the top of another bull market. Maybe the next time around, one of those. Yeah. So you don't sound British. Just curious.
No. I'm American. I'm American.
Yeah,
I'm not British.
I assume so. Why are you in London? Is it just the fashion ecosystem there, or what are you doing there?
Yeah, I can't say where I'm working because it's just by contract, but I'm working for a fashion company here. And it's, I really like the company a lot. So I'm very happy to be working with them, even though, and I like London, I do, but it's just not my home. I don't have family here. I have some friends because I've lived here quite a while now, but I'm homesick. I really wish I could live in the States again.
Yeah. It's I'm a little biased being American. I do love it a lot. There's definitely places that are better than others. But the good thing is you can choose. A lot of places you can't choose. A lot of places you got to get a license to go. Live in another province or state. There's a lot of. Richard always talks about he's not coming because of all the guns. I'm not sure that's the reason. I'm also not saying he's wanted or anything. Obviously, otherwise Interpol could get him and all that stuff. I think that's all nonsense. But I think he'll come one day. I think especially if Joe Rogan invites him on. He'll take his ass to America.
Maybe that's what will take him to the States. Yeah, he really wants to be on Joe Rogan. But I mean, gosh, he has so much influence. I never really watched his show until I got into HEX, and the Hexicans they love Joe Rogan. So I watched it. I'm like, okay, I get why he's huge. I get it. And it would be a fantastic interview if he interviewed Richard.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a 3-hour interview at least, and the clips from that would be fantastic. I'd be excited. I don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe a documentary. Maybe we can mob Joe Rogan with get him to get his producers. Get what's his name? Jamie, young Jamie. That's one of his producers. His main one. Get the highest stakes in front of him. And then, this guy's very controversial, but seems smart and has this huge following. All these insane Hexicans. They call them Hexicans, like Mexicans, but Hexicans. They call them that. Maybe we should investigate and kind of figure out and do some research and see if he's somebody I'd like to have on the show. So you do the work, everyone. You do the work. You mob Joe Rogan. you get this in front of young Jamie. We can make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, chat. I'll say hi real quick. Dave James is killing as usual. Appreciate it, man. Good questions, too. Got a couple good questions going on. Crypto Gain, Sandy Beach. We've talked to her. John Oliver James, Tyrannosaurus HEX. Hello as well.
SJ is here. Hi, SJ.
Your peers.
She's driving across country right now. That looks like fun.
Be careful. Don't text and drive.
Careful though. Yeah, be careful.
Keep your eyes on the road, but also maybe slightly on us. As long as you can do it safely, or just listen. How about that? That's the safest way.
Yeah.
We got a question here from John Oliver. What is your favorite brand and why KS?
This is like such a hard question for me because I like so many brands, but I would say my favorite brand is Balenciaga, but it's more I like what they're doing now, but it's more about the history of it and Cristobal Balenciaga and what he represented and what a game changer he was when, he started. It was a couture brand and it was just super architectural. It was beautiful what he created, and it's still really relevant. And the way that he looked at the female form and how he created for that, it was really sensual, but it was really intellectual. So that's my favorite. But I mean, I love Chanel. I like Prada a lot. I like what they're doing now. There's a lot of brands that I like, a lot of small brands too. It's like the Rick Owens, and not that they're that small, but there's other smaller brands that I really love, independent brands, because they have a really pure spirit and it's designed with a love of clothing, with a very clean point of view, not just about selling. And then that's when things are truly beautiful. And that's what is inspiring.
Very nice. Very nice. I think you and my wife would get along a lot too. She's
She
also a
works
HEX. She definitely talks. I hear, I don't know anything about this stuff, but I definitely hear Prada and other words, Chanel. I think she does like Chanel. And
you hear expensive.
Well, she's a Mexican, so I say, hey, if you wanna cash out and go buy some of that cool stuff, maybe I buy her some stuff from time to time. But she's got her own bankroll, so she can do what she likes with that. You buy all the stuff you want. Don't tell me what to buy. I won't tell you what to buy. We're good.
Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. But like you said earlier, resale value. It holds price, just like watches, like everything else. When inflation's going crazy,
clothes do not though. Clothes don't. Accessories do, shoes to a degree, depending on how carefully you use them. But it's all about the bags. That's what has the highest resale value. So ready to wear, which is clothing, has a harder time. I think that's where the brands like the Chanels, maybe 10, 15% of their entire business is ready to wear. It's all in the accessories. And it's for that reason. Because I mean, really, do you really want to spend $6,000 on a jacket that you're going to wear once, unless you're Richard Heart? Like, most people don't. Like, clothing's not a great investment because it doesn't retain its value.
That's why I go t-shirts. That's why I got my mask. That's what I'm
my shirt is
stressed fox MetaMask.
My shirt is it's from
what are you wearing?
Klein. Calvin Klein was taken over by Raf Simons, who's now the creative director at Prada. And he did one year or year and a half at Calvin Klein, and he had this kind of whole Americana, Western kind of vibe that he had to him. And I really loved what he did, but I think he had a hard time reconciling what he wanted to do versus what the commercial aspirations for the house, the goals for the house were. So they parted ways. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm owning a piece of history when he was there. So this is one of my favorite shirts. It's a men's shirt, so it's really oversized, but I like it.
Yeah, no, I like how you really put some, you're looking at like the soul of even clothes. Like that's a history, the story. I'm a big history buff. And I love, hearing stories and things like that. So that's cool how, it's not just appealing to the eyes, but also appealing to your mind and intellect as well. So that's very nice. Okay, more questions. Everybody just talking about the t-shirt. I love t-shirts. I'm not sure which t-shirt, mine or hers. I don't know.
Maybe yours. Maybe MetaMask. I like the MetaMask.
Okay. Yeah, you did say t-shirt. Or no, it's a shirt.
Or no, but if it's mine with John Oliver Jones, some of your work, maybe it's mine because it's some of the work. So maybe I would love to see your work sometime. Please reach out.
Yes, please. I think also like to do a stream. So there you go. We're hooking people up here if y'all get together.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you the rest of the year? And we hit on documentary, PulseChain launch. Please, sometime this year. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, but like this year would be nice. All the community projects. Pulse. I learned from Maddie yesterday. There's a Pulse conference online coming in July.
Yep, I'm speaking at that conference. I'll be speaking. Yeah.
Great.
Conference,
yeah, I didn't even know about it until yesterday. I had him on stream. He's like, I'm doing one. I didn't know that. I missed that. And also the PulseCon in September, which is a physical one in Vegas, which I hope to be in attendance for. So lots of cool stuff like that. But what are you most excited for? Like, what do you think is gonna you're gonna be like just going nuts about in the next few months?
Wait, I'm sorry. What am I gonna about?
Yeah, like what events or what are you most excited about for the rest of the year for the Richard Heart ecosystem?
Okay, sorry. Well, I mean, obviously, PulseChain launch. I mean, I hope it happens in this year. So that's like what everybody's looking forward to, right? But I'm also really looking forward to PulseCon because I'm so excited to meet fellow Hexicans in person. Just coming back from DC, and I met with David James, I met Jim Rat, RG3 was there, even though we've met before, but it was really nice. It was so cool just to sit and have lunch and talk, and it was amazing. So I'm excited to see everybody. And also I saw everybody at the 2-year anniversary in London. I met people, but it was my first time. And I didn't know anyone. I mean, I knew people's faces from streaming, but I didn't know people. But I met a lot of people there, and that was really great. So I'm looking forward to those. And I'm also looking forward to speaking at the Matty Allen's, the Pulse event that he's doing in July. I'm very much looking forward to that. So I think Richard's speaking at it too. Bobby Hexelrod. Okay, so there's a new line of fragrances that have come out from a brand called Dries Van Noten. It's like Dries. It's a Belgian brand, I think. And they have a line of fragrances that are men's and women's. And I have to tell you, it smells so effing good. And it's like, you can do refills. So you can buy, it's really expensive, but you can buy the refill, which isn't that expensive. It's a lot less and it's a lot better for the environment. But it's one of the most gorgeous fragrances. They have men's and women's, and a lot of it's unisex. But all my guy friends are obsessed with it. It smells so good. So yeah, you can, I'll DM you the name because I can't type on here.
Oh, yeah. Actually, do you want to spell it one more time? I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, Dries.
E-S.
And then second word, VAN. V as in Victor. And then the third word is NOTEN as in Nancy. Dries Van Noten.
I got it right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I got to go to DC. There's a lot of Hexicans in DC. That you mentioned too. I'd like to meet some of the folks out there as well. And then so you're going to PulseCon in Vegas? Sounds like.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I
hope to see you there. Yeah, I really hope to see you there. That would be nice to meet in person. Yeah. Daniel Garza wants to know, do I play any sports? Oh God. Okay. So because Jim Rat's like, you've got to exercise. I'm like, I know. I love yoga. I do love yoga. And I used to be a gymnast, but it was so long ago. It's really embarrassing. Like I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel to say what kind of sports I've done. I mean, I played soccer. So I did play soccer in high school, but yeah, I'm not super athletic, but I like yoga.
Yoga's good. I mean, I've tried. I went to like one yoga class. I just kind of stepped in one day, and I was like, wow, this is it's not easy. It's I mean, I work out in other ways. Like I have a daily routine and do all this stuff, running and some boxing and different stuff. But yoga is no joke. Like people say, oh, it's just this light exercise. Go do it. Go to a class.
No, I do hot yoga too. So if you do it in 100-degree room, you do it. It's not easy, and you do use your muscles. Like I'm sore the next day, but I'm not like, yeah, it's not like a real sport.
Well, hey, it's good exercise, so definitely. Yeah. Cool. Wait, so are you working on any projects? Are you involved in any community projects or have anything else going on?
I'm involved in the genesis of some projects, and I don't mean to be obnoxious, but it's just too early to be able to talk about it because they're so early. But I'm involved in a few things. Yes, I'm involved in a few things. So a lot of smart people in this community. So I'm looking, happy about it. John Oliver Jones wants to know if I think that streetwear will survive 100%. All the Virgil, the late Virgil, rest in peace, who was the creative director of Louis Vuitton Men's. Kim Jones is the creative director of Dior Men's, and then also he's taken over Fendi. It's all the street designers, even Raf Simons, who's at Prada for my shirt. He has a really strong streetwear sensibility. Nigo, who's like the godfather of Japanese streetwear, is the creative director of Kenzo. And especially on the men's side, but even has influenced so much the women's side. Is street fashion is just like, it's not a fad. It is not going anywhere. It is totally here to stay. It's just part of the fabric and part of the language of luxury fashion now. And it happened really quickly.
Wow. Streetwear. I'm not familiar with streetwear. What is streetwear?
I did a video actually comparing streetwear to crypto. It's very similar.
I will watch
How it came
Okay.
about, like the spirit of it. It came about like basically streetwear is inspired, and it comes up from subcultures such as skate, hip hop, surf culture, rap. And so what comes out of this culture is like a code and a way of dressing that's super casual, but it is what they do. And like brands like Supreme, for example, what they do is that, first of all, it shows you belong, you believe, like you're a part of a member of a club or a member of a group that believes in something. So it has value because of that. And also because the number of items that are made are really scarce. So they come in drops. And then you have to, if you buy one of those items, you can resell it on the gray market for a lot of money. So there are a lot of kids who make money by buying Supreme or buying, Palace or these other street brands because they're produced in such scarcity and they have such high demand, and they resell it on the gray market and they make a ton of money doing that. So, but it's a very pure thing. It comes from a place of a true belief in something, from a real subculture that's, making a statement against something, which is what crypto is doing. Crypto's, with money system, the financial system was broken and elitist. And they're like, well, screw that. We're going to create this. It's exactly what happened with streetwear. So it's just really fascinating, like the reason why it came about and how it rose is so similar to crypto. So I did a video on it, but I think it was a little bit too out there. So I don't think many people watched it, but it was a good video. Yeah.
Fix the money, fix the world, fix your clothes, complete that sentence. I don't know.
Fix the clothes. I don't know. It'll make you happy. It'll make you feel good. That's
your happiness. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, fix your mind. I mean, I think that personal style is a reflection of what makes you feel good. So people are like, well, how should so-and-so or how should people dress? It's like, there's no one size or one formula fits all. Like people are like, you should change Richard and tell him how to dress. And I'm like, you know what? Like, because I've spent time with him and I've spent time with his closets and I've spent time, outfitting him and stuff. And it's about what makes him feel good. He puts something on and he just has a certain swag and you could just tell it just makes him feel good. I'm like, okay, that's one, and everyone else can hate it and think it's hideous and whatever. He has a certain aesthetic that he likes. You can like it or not like it, but he owns it and he wears it. It doesn't wear him, and that's good style.
Great way to put it. Wow. Yeah. That's interesting to get the perspective from that. So you've, wow, to be a fly in his closet. That's very cool to know those like intricate details. Very cool.
Yes, cool. He's a lot of designer clothes.
So I have to ask you, how accurate is the movie Zoolander?
I mean, it's a parody, so it's obviously exaggerated, but there's a lot of truth to it, which is what makes it funny. So yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies.
People are ridiculous. They're ridiculous.
Yeah. That was, I mean, not the second one as much as the first one. The first one was just, oh my gosh, I could every line. Is this a house for ants? That's kind of like just showing how stupid he was. But I mean, a lot of the fashions, I love was it called a dance off? Is it called a dance off? Something, a runoff maybe, when they do the dancing and then they challenge each other and they do like it's like the underground fashion show and they get different points and stuff. I always wonder, like, is that like an actual thing? Is there like, underground gambling? There's also underground fashion deal.
Oh yeah. I'm sure that there is. I'm not, well, no, there is. There definitely is. There definitely is. Now there's a lot of shows that are like off schedule and they're more the underground rebels, who are like anti-fashion, especially in the UK.
Would they go to streetwear to put that message out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of streetwear brands that do that, that
anti-fashion fashion brands.
It's like very rebellious. Bobby, you're right. It's hard. Like once you start wearing really beautiful clothes that are really made well with nice fabrics, it's very hard to go backwards. It's true. It's a problem.
Yeah. Don't, as Richard says, don't buy all the stuff he buys because he's a billionaire and he can afford it. Don't
It is a
not
poor
financial advice, but
investment.
don't sell all your HEX for all the fashion stuff. Maybe
It
wait
is
a little
a
bit longer.
poor investment. I mean, I am one that I know. So I'm like, don't, unless you just
Especially
have so much
clothes.
money, you don't know what to do with it. It's the like last place you should put your money is in clothes. But get a few things that you love and that you wear again and again, like investment pieces. Like I buy dresses that I can wear again and again, which is why most of my wardrobe is black, because you can keep wearing it. So,
Is there a utility aspect to that? Like, how much does utility factor into fashion?
well, high fashion, none, but like there's fashion, there's active wear, there's beach wear, is all about utility, is all about what the end use is. But high fashion is not practical at all. Wait, SJ said there's going to be a fashion show at PulseCon to showcase Suzanne's merch. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
I assume the PulseCon, the physical one in Vegas.
Yeah, that's the physical one in Vegas. And then Mixed Crypto Art says we need more punk. We do, but come to the UK, there's a lot of punk. And that's where
Walk Off. Bobby X Rod, thank you. Walk Off. Got what's his name from Titanic?
Leonardo
Billy Zane. Billy Zane. No, Billy Zane. The husband, the rich husband from Titanic. He's in Zoolander, and he's Derek Zoolander's right hand guy in the fashion walk off.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny to see Billy Zane as this. They call him Billy Zane. It's kind of like a cameo. It's just so many meta jokes in that movie too. I love that movie. So good.
I just haven't seen it in so long, so I'm not commenting. Like I just don't remember any of it. I need to watch it again.
You know what you're watching tonight, then, right?
Hey, I know. I'll watch it tonight. We need more cyberpunk style. Well, that's for sure happening. Cyberpunk is really big. It's really big in China right now. So
interesting. Is that so? What was it? Speaking of John Wick, Keanu Reeves, he was doing the cyberpunk video game or something like that, and I imagine that was probably big in China too.
They love him in China. I mean, they love him here too. But they love him in China. But yeah, that whole cyberpunk look has been really, really, really big for a while in China. They're so far ahead of us.
In fashion wise? Yeah, I'm curious. Like, what are the differences? Yeah, you said they're so far ahead. Are they, again, very ignorant of fashion stuff? But like, is it season type stuff, or is it just like the development of new styles? Like, how would you describe that?
They're looking at trends in a way that just they get it faster than we do. Hi, Finbear. They just get it much faster than we do. They're like a year ahead of us.
So how does it work? Fashion a year ahead, like, isn't, again, very ignorant, but I thought it was like a seasonal thing. And then, but when you say they're ahead, is it like wouldn't they be on like a different timeline instead of being ahead? They would just be on like a different one.
They're just ahead.
like in a year from now, are we going to be wearing what they're wearing now? Is that what you're saying?
It'll be the trend. Yeah.
Okay, so the trend.
I don't know. It's because they're informing the trend, because the whole world, especially the luxury world, caters to China. They only care about Asia and what's going to do well in Asia. That's why they go after all the Korean pop stars. That's why a lot of the styles are the way that they are. It's because that's the market they need to go to, because it's the biggest market. And they're the biggest luxury consumers in the world.
Even bigger than, I guess, number-wise, bigger than Europe? Wow. I don't know. I always think of Europeans as being, very fashionable, wearing all, a lot of the luxury brands. A lot of them come from there, obviously, too, from Italy and otherwise. But yeah, I guess China's got the people, and they got money. They're going to spend it on nice things. So
they love to dress well. They love designer clothes.
Blue Steel, yes, Zoolander. All right, we're all watching Zoolander tonight. Crypto Stylist, I'm going to watch it today.
Okay, I'll watch it. We got to regroup. We'll follow up stream.
Blue Steel. I can't do it. Anyways, Crypto Stylist, it's been amazing.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to go get some lunch. But
okay.
I know it's evening time, your time. Do whatever you want. Just watch Zoolander. We'll talk about it. Okay,
I will. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for having me. It was a real pleasure. I had a lot of fun. And have a nice lunch. Bon appetit. And I'll see you soon. Okay.
Yeah, will do.
Right.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks, chat. Thanks, everyone. Until next time. Bye.